recognized for unanimous consent request.
Mr. Chairman, I have an article dated May 6, 2024 called DC Crime Facts without objection.
Without objection.
And a Vanderbilt Law Review article titled Corruption of a Term, the Problematic Nature of 18 U.S.C. 1512C, the Federal Justice Power Provision.
Thank you. Without objection. Thank you, gentlemen. Gentleman from Texas is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney General, I want to go back to the Mr. Colangelo questions that I didn't quite get answers with. Is it true that Mr. Matthew Colangelo, who was at one point the third highest ranking official at the DOJ, joined Bragg's DA office in New York before the Trump prosecution? Do I have that right?
I don't know anything other than it's on the public record. He was the principal deputy to the Associate Attorney General, and he joined the case in New York. I don't know how it related timeline to the prosecution.
Has anyone from the department, your department, been in touch with Mr. Colangelo or ever discussed any of the case about President Trump since he left?
Look, we have 115,000 people in the department. I can speak for myself. I have not had any communications with Mr. Colangelo.
So you don't know if anyone in the department has?
As I said, there's 115,000, and I don't know what they've talked about.
So if I asked for further information and sent you a letter, could I get some of these questions answered? I've asked for correspondence. I sent a letter back in April and haven't received a response. You said in your testimony that you've gone to extraordinary lengths to get Congress information they request.
Yeah, look, I'm in favor of transparency because I believe it will show that these allegations about some kind of control or collusion between the department and the independent Manhattan office are not true.
So then would you...
We'll take back your letter and we'll try to get a response to you.
To kind of follow up with what Mr. Gates said earlier this morning, will you commit to releasing any communications between your department and the local DA offices in New York or Atlanta with respect to these Trump trials?
I'm going to commit to look, I would like transparency on this matter. In the normal course, if you submit your letter, our Office of Legislative Affairs will get a response to you.
Because I think one of the problems here is we hear you criticize some of us for being critical and accusing you all of a two-tier justice system. We use the term weaponization of government, but then when we ask you all for information, you tell us we can't have it, or you've decided that we shouldn't have it. So it's difficult when you criticize us, but we don't get the information we're asking for.
I'm not criticizing you, and in fact, we produced 92,000 pages of documents in response to hundreds of requests.
You've called some of the things we've said conspiracy theories. I won't read back your testimony to you, but I've printed it since your office posted it online this morning. And I would just ask you to work with us because it's difficult for us to tamper down some of these claims that you say we're making when we don't get the information we request from you all. I'll yield.
That's fair. I'd be happy to work with you to tamper this down.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Hey, we'll tamper away if we can get the information we're asking. I'll yield back to you.
Assume that's a verb. I'm with it.
That's right. Thank you. Mr. Jordan, I'll yield to you.
I appreciate the gentleman yielding. I'm going to go back to where I was, Mr. Attorney General, a few minutes ago. I want to read from this Politico's news story from 1 week ago today. I just want to read two sentences, it's the first two sentences in the article. The Justice Department has agreed to settle a long-running litigation stemming from a decision in 2017 to release to the media text messages between two former FBI employees involved in the probe of Donald Trump's 2016 presidential campaign. Next sentence, in a notice filed with two federal judges in Washington on Tuesday, the Justice Department said it had reached settlements of legal claims that fired FBI agent Peter Strzok and former FBI attorney Lisa Page brought in 2019, alleging that the disclosure violated their privacy. So again, I just want to be clear that the department is getting ready to pay Peter Strzok and Lisa Page some money. Is that accurate?
I wasn't aware that we'd announced it. All I can say is we reached settlements based on our litigators' assessment of whether we can win the case and how much it will cost if we lose the case. That's the way we decide on reaching settlements.
Just to be clear, the guy who texted Peter Strzok, who was involved in the spying on President Trump's campaign, who was then involved, worked on the Mueller investigative team, and sent this text message to Lisa Page, just went to a Southern Virginia Walmart. I could smell, in all capitals, I could smell the Trump support. That guy's going to get tax dollars from the American people
That case is brought, he brought a case under the Privacy Act. The question is, did the Justice Department violate the Privacy Act?
Lisa
by
Page said
disclosing
this in a
person-
text message to Peter Strzok. Trump's not ever going to become president, right? With a question mark. Peter Strzok's response, no, he's not. We'll stop it. And these two individuals are going to get a windfall of money from the American taxpayers because you decided that's the right thing to do?
The Privacy Act doesn't distinguish between people we like and people we don't like, information we like and information we don't like. If somebody in the government discloses
Wow.
personal information protected by the Privacy Act, that's the way the law is. And they
Jeepers, you can go after a
obtain money.
president and you get rewarded for doing so, according to the Justice Department.
It's not a question of reward, it's a question of the government paying for violating the law.
They're going to get a lot of money, and I know that this is what they said. We know what they were up to. Chair now recognizes the gentlelady from Vermont.